Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So today I am making something that I have not made in quite a while. It's been several years, and that is pomegranate jelly. Now this is such an easy recipe. It is great for beginners because it uses store-bought pomegranate juice as the base. Now to begin, I'm washing my jars, even though yes, they were clean when they went in the pantry. But I always wash them up, make sure they're nice and clean. And as you can see, I'm examining the edges of the jars while I'm washing them, just to check to make sure there's no chips or flaws or anything like that that would prevent my jar lids from sealing properly. Once they've been washed up, they go into my steam canner to start warming up. Of course, you can use a hot water bath canner as well. Now, I had a little bit of a camera issue as I was starting this, and the beginning of my video did not record. So in my pot here, I have 3.5 cups of pomegranate juice. I have a tablespoon of lemon juice, and I have 6 tablespoons of powdered traditional pectin. And we're just going to keep on doing this until it comes to a full boil. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in 1/2 teaspoon of butter. This prevents your jelly from foaming up and having to skim it off the top. You don't have to do this, but it is a great shortcut. It is completely safe. It's even recommended in the bulk canning books, so please don't think this is something unsafe. I pretty much do it for all my jellies. Once it comes to a full boil, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in my 5 cups of granulated sugar. And yes, I know that is a lot of sugar. Jelly really does take a lot of sugar for the most part. Now in truth, the first time that I made jelly years and years ago, I was a little shocked at how much sugar is actually in jelly. I mean, it's basically just thickened flavored sugar if you really want to get down to it. But we don't consume a whole lot of it, and I really only make about 1 or 2 batches of jelly for an entire year. And even then, a lot of that I give away. Now once the jelly comes to a full rolling boil, you're going to let it do that for 1 full minute. Then you'll turn off the heat and test it to make sure it is gelled. And the way that I do that is I keep some spoons in the freezer, dribble a little bit of the jelly on there, and see if once it's cold, it thickens up. And as you can see, yes it did. Jelly's done. If it hadn't thickened up, you would let it boil just a little bit longer and test again. All right, I'm heating up my superb canning lids, which are my absolute favorite lids. And it's time to jar up the jelly. So I'm going to ladle my hot pomegranate jelly into my 1/2 pint canning jars, and we're going to ladle this up to 1/4 inch of headspace, which is the space between the top of the jar and the top of the food. Now this recipe usually makes around 6 of the 1/2 pint jars, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but anytime I'm canning I always prepare a couple of extra jars just to be on the safe side. I took my little chopstick, I removed the air bubbles, I wiped the rim of the jar with a damp cloth dipped in white vinegar. On with a hot lid. Add the ring. Ooh, that jar was hot. And back into the canner. And we're just going to repeat this with all of the jelly. Now once all of my jars were filled, I went ahead and I put them into my steam canner here. This is for high acid canning, just like a hot water bath canner. And I'm going to let it come up to temperature, and then the processing time will be 10 minutes. And that's going to be the same whether you process in a hot water bath canner or a steam canner. Hey friends, so the past couple of years you may have noticed that just about every time you see me canning something, I'm using Superb canning lids. I discovered these a couple of years ago and I immediately fell in love with them. They are my favorite canning lids. They are super durable. They feel more substantial than any other canning lid I've ever used. When they pop into place and you hear that wonderful tink sound, it's more significant, it's louder than any other canning lid. And same thing when you open it, it's a nice loud pop, so you know you had a great seal. And these are basically the only lids I have bought ever since I started using them. And not only are they great quality, but they are American owned and they're American made. You're not going to see an American flag saying American owned and then you look closer at the box and see it was actually made in China. American owned, American made, great quality. They are BPA free, designed to not buckle when you are pressure canning like some cheap lids do. And the family who designed these and makes these here in America, their mission is to be the very, very best at what they do. And they are continually seeking ways to make these great lids even better. So if you would like to get some Superb canning lids, you can click the link in my video description down below and you can get 20% off your purchase using my discount code Cornbread20. All right, after my jars are done processing and I let the canner rest for a few minutes, it's time to take the jars out. I ended up with 5 full half-pint jars. You know, sometimes you have a jar that's not quite full, so that one just goes straight into the fridge to enjoy right away. And we're just going to transfer all of the jars over to my canning mat for them to cool down. And I have a video where I show you how you can make your very own canning mat. This one that you see here was actually a gift from one of my sweet subscribers years ago. Now we're just going to let these jars sit here and cool overnight. Listen for that wonderful sound of success. And then the next morning, I remove the rings. I test all my jar lids to make sure they sealed. And then once all the jars are done, I go ahead and I wash them with some warm soapy water, dry them off, label them, and take them to the pantry. And don't forget to wash your rings before you put them away. You don't want those things to be crusty and nasty and rusted. Now this video, of course, is part of my March Canning Madness collaboration that is open to anyone who wants to participate. And yes, there are giveaways. Be sure to check out the article on my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com, where you can find out all of the details, including the prizes. I will put a link to that in the video description down below. You can also get a free printable version of this pomegranate jelly recipe on my website. I will put a link down there as well. So with that, thank you for joining me here again at the homestead. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.